to another episode of the Cycle Podcast, a show where we cover 4 trending MLB topics in 20 minutes or less. Joining me once again is Josh, a.k.a. Kablumski. How are you doing today, buddy?
Ready to get after it. Let's get going.
Absolutely. We've got some wild card talk, a little bit of trade deadline coverage. We'll talk in who's hot, and then we'll dive a little bit into the scandal plaguing the Cleveland Guardians involving Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz, and a scandal to say the least.
Yes.
Without further ado, let's roll right into it. Our first topic today is going to be talking some of the wild card teams that are still in the hunt, and I'm going to start it off with the New York Yankees. The news that Aaron Judge is going on the 10-day IL. As they have fallen out of first place, they are still at the top of that wild card spot. They would have to slide quite a bit, but if Judge's injury were to linger even a little bit, let's say he's out for 12 to 15 games, I can see that being a major blow. How much help do the Yankees need, not just to get over that Aaron Judge hump, but to compete with the Blue Jays, with the Red Sox who are surging, the Rays who are hanging around? Josh, I'll turn that one over to you.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, those are some big shoes to fill, figuratively and physically, right? But no, you need something to keep you afloat. Whoever comes in, whoever they bring in, because they're definitely going to be buyers. And I think that they don't really use this avenue to get another bat. I think they use this avenue to get some pitching during this time to keep them afloat, as they know that pitching is going to be what gets them over the hump. It's always been their Achilles heel these recent past years. And I think they know that. And with, like you mentioned, a division that is competitive and a division that is everybody's fighting not only to win a division, but filling those wild card spots, pitching is going to be the answer.
They can get 3 wild card teams. I've actually got, don't drop any names, because I do have one Yankees trade in our trade predictions here in a few minutes.
I'm sorry.
With the time we have on this topic, in the National League, we have the Reds, the Cardinals, and the Giants all competing just outside of those playoff spots. Obviously, the Giants already brought in Rafael Devers. How much more do they have to move to bring in maybe another quality starting pitcher, some bullpen help?
Yeah.
I really like the Reds with a lot of young talent. They also have some guys in the minors that they could use. They have some obvious holes they need to fill. Right. Of those 3 teams, Reds, Cardinals, Giants, who do you see being the most active at the deadline and then having success down the stretch as they chase that 3rd spot?
Right. First of all, shout out to the Reds. I know we have some listeners out there that you want to get that shout out. So shout out to the Reds. And I'm going to pick them. You mentioned their farm system. They're young. I mentioned in an earlier podcast that Tito needs to figure out and adapt to this new world of baseball that we're living in. And I think he's starting to get there. I think that him playing with De La Cruz during the games and stuff shows that he is adapting, and people wanting to play for somebody like that, especially with somebody that has that experience. But real quick, though, when you talk about the Giants, we'll talk about later on in this podcast as well, is that they're going to be making some moves. I think they need to make some moves on the back end of their pitching staff. They're going to be around. They're, like I said, they're always that squeaky wheel. They're that chihuahua that's always around barking. So they will be around. I think that they know, and they're always buyers. They're never scared to spend a little bit of money, especially if they see the end in sight. So look out for them to make some moves in the back end of that rotation.
Yeah. And the Cardinals, I think they know where they are. They're a team that's coming out of their prime. They have a lot of aging players. I don't see them moving any prospects, any more prospects. After they move quite a bit of capital to bring in Devers. I'm sorry, I'm talking the Giants. I don't see the Giants making any more huge moves. I don't see the Cardinals making any moves at all. Just because with the age of their team, and they need to bring up some young prospects to bolster that team as it is. I don't see them shipping off anybody. And then the Giants, guys like Eldridge, I don't see them moving him. And I don't see them taking on any more big name salaries in the middle of the year. I can see them making some plays in the offseason to build around what they have.
Right.
But with the prospect capital they shelled out for Devers, I just don't see it happening again, bringing another big name guy, even though there are some dudes on the market that interest me as potential San Francisco Giants. But with that, let's move on to trade deadline predictions, our second topic of the show. Our second topic today is going to be throwing out a few trade deadline predictions. And on my end, I'm not going with any huge names. I've got a few guys that I think could really, really make an impact on teams in spots where it's needed. My first is Ryan O'Hearn going to the Tampa Bay Rays. Honorable mention, the Rangers. Rangers now well in the discussion for the wild card. They could use more offense. Their pitching has been outstanding pretty much from the beginning of the season. Though Ryan O'Hearn, like we were talking about off the podcast, strikes me as a Rays player. He's a true rental. I don't see the Rays going after anybody that they have to pay for multiple years at this point, because you know that Caminero extension is going to have to be discussed. Give him the same contract you gave to Wander Franco and keep him away from children. But Ryan O'Hearn can play first base. He can DH. He can play corner outfield, albeit not well. But in that minor league stadium, it makes it a lot easier to play those corner outfield spots because it's small. Yeah. I then have either Griffin Jax or Johan Duran going to the Cubs or Phillies. I don't see them trading both. I think the most sense is Griffin Jax to the Cubs. Daniel Palencia has been great in the closer role in Chicago. I would love to get them a true lockdown setup guy to help him out a little bit. Take a little bit of the pressure off him in the back end, especially since he's a guy with no playoff experience in the closer role. Griffin Jax just gives you a little bit of comfort in the 7th or 8th inning. If it's a 3-run game going into the 8th, throw Griffin Jax out there. You know you're getting a 3-run lead going into the 9th. I also have Mitch Keller to the New York Yankees, a beleaguered pitching staff with Garrett Cole and Luis Gil obviously being out for the year. Max Fried doing a great job at the front end. Mitch Keller just gives you more depth. And the Yankees are a team that lacks depth in a lot of different positions. Like I said, with Aaron Judge going down, they lack outfield depth. I don't love the structure of their infield right now. But Mitch Keller just seems like an easy one. He's a veteran. He knows how to pitch the big games. No real playoff experience, but I think he's been in the league long enough that he has that veteran presence that would translate well to the playoffs. With that, I'll turn it over to you. You have a mind-blowing trade prediction. So let's hear that one. Not that it came out of nowhere, but it's a lot bigger than I had you pinned for going after. So let's hear it.
Well, first things first, I want to give you your flowers. You know me, I'm all about giving flowers when flowers is needed. And I want to give you your flowers for, not doing the chalk and big time names, doing your homework and picking out some good players for the pod. And that just goes to show you that you are the man. So shout out to you. I went a little bit on a different route, I guess we want to say. The first guy I want to talk about is O'Neal Cruz. All right. I know we, for our listeners,
Cruz is a bomb being
yes. So our listeners know when we did the home run derby, you were all over him as you should, because he's a bomb waiting to happen, like you said. But what I'm saying is that O'Neal Cruz, not only is he a big time name, that stadium is going to be luxurious for him to hit in. They can fill in a little bit of a gap, like we talked about earlier with Aaron Judge. They can move him back into the infield if they need, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, it's a big bat. My next player I'm going to go with is Pete Fairbanks. We have very similar options and views as far as the Cubs and Phillies needing some back end help, as well as the Giants. And I think that those three teams are in contention. I understand that the Cubs have a great closer over there. And by the way, when I was at Wrigley, that atmosphere was amazing. So shout out to anybody who's going to Wrigley, need to go there. But with that being said, you were talking about Griffin being a great setup man, and honestly, that is ideal. But why not have two closers? Having a Fairbanks in there,
Yeah.
or if one goes down, you have a little bit of depth at that position to close the game. Tight situations, tight series down the stretch. So the Cubs, to me, not only are they contenders, but they are one arm away from being the top dog to beat, in my opinion, in the NL. Another name that I want to
I think they could use another starting pitcher. The Cubs, I really think, could use one bullpen arm and a starting pitcher, a back end guy, a back end rotation.
Yeah,
Anyway, give your last name. I'm sorry.
No, the last one is your boy Suarez. We talked about him a lot. We talk about him a lot off the podcast. He's becoming your new J-Ram, which is totally okay with me. He's very deserving of it. He's an awesome player. But to the Yankees, why not? Right? Yeah. Why not? They like to spend money. They like a big bat. You could put Chisholm back at second or whatever it may be. Let him hone down.
McMahon. They just got McMahon. You may have to put Suarez at DH.
Or DH, right. So, I mean, we can make it work.
The more bats, the better.
The thing about it is that the price tag for O'Neal Cruz and Suarez is out of this world.
Spencer Jones. They're going to have to trade Spencer.
Have to. But you eliminate a lot of the contenders for those type of players just because of your pockets being small. So the big time organizations that have some bigger pockets are going to be the one in contention for those bigger names. So just look out for the rich getting richer, and somehow the Rays still make it into the playoffs.
I like the prediction. With that, let's roll into who's hot, and then we're going to be talking a little bit of that Guardians scandal.
Yeah.
Our third topic today is going to be who's hot, which we cover every week, and this one hurts me a little bit. Nick Kurtz obviously has been scalding hot since the All-Star break. He's got 6 home runs, 13 runs, 15 RBIs. He is hitting .561 in 10 games. And, of course, he had the 4 home run, 19 total base game. That ties the single-game total bases record set by Sean Green, one of my all-time favorite players. And I always liked that a guy who didn't get enough recognition in his playing days had a record like that to his name. Luckily, Kurtz did not break that record. He tied it. So Sean Green still atop of the mountain for total bases in a single game. But Kurtz,
insane, by the way, insane
as a rookie.
Insane.
I will be honest. I do not watch a ton of athletics baseball, so I may have not been completely familiar with his game. He is a rookie. A lot left to see out of him. Looks like he could be a piece there. I don't trust the athletics development as a whole. But he certainly has the makings of a future Yankee. I will say that much.
God, don't say that. Don't put that in there.
He has the makings of a Mark Teixeira kind of trade. Bring in a big bat, tall guy, let the Yankees work with him. I don't know. That's my take on Nick Kurtz. But he is my who's hot. I'll turn it over to you, Josh. Give me your guy.
Well, I've been wanting to talk about him, and I speak about him a lot throughout our show, and that's my boy, the Big Dumper. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to speak about him again. Listen, and honorable mention is another guy that was in the home run derby as well. But first, the Big Dumper. Anytime that anybody enters the home run derby that perceived action of them losing their swing or whatever it may be, after the All-Star break comes into play. He has not faltered by any means. He's still hot. I think he's already set the record or broke the record for switch hitting batters in a home run. So that's already taken care of. The guy is lights out. He's still doing what he needs to do behind the plate too. Guys, we are watching something that is very, very rare in baseball. A catcher doing what he is doing offensively is amazing, and it's worth talking about as much as I talk about it. I love giving my catchers the love, but man, this guy deserves his flowers now and for the foreseeable future. Real quick, and I'll let you get back to it. My honorable mention is another home run derby guy, your boy, the one that you wanted to win, O'Neal Cruz. I spoke about him earlier. He's another one that is on fire. He's scorching hot. He's on pace to be batting 380, I believe it is. And on top of all that, there's still the home runs and just
The
making
speed.
everything, guys. What we're watching with him and what he's able to do on the baseball field is just absolutely tremendous. The way he hits the ball at that size is even phenomenal. When you talk about the analytics of somebody at that stature and still being able to hit the ball with that great speed of his is something that is unheard of. So we got to realize what we're seeing here and not take it for granted. O'Neal Cruz to me is a diamond that needs to be presented and shown to the world, not in the rough. So those two guys to me right now are what's hot.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can save a little time here as we went over on our last segment. But where do we project Cal Raleigh at the end of the season? Is he the MVP? If Aaron Judge misses some time, is Cal Raleigh, your who's hot guy, is he the MVP of the American League?
I think so. I'm not just saying because I'm a little bit biased. Unbiasedly speaking, I mean, like I tell you guys, when you put numbers to numbers, he's up there on the top. And you take the position away from it, he's up there with your Aaron Judges and all these categories. And then you then you realize that he's a catcher doing this. That sets you up even more. I think that's what we're seeing in Seattle, not to mention that he is keeping that Seattle team afloat. Okay. Yes, I know they're not leading the division, all that good stuff, but man, they still can make a push for it, and it's solely for him, solely because of him. So he is my MVP, and not only because he's a catcher, but for what he's doing as well.
Absolutely. I agree. With that, let's move on to our final topic of the show. Our last topic is a tough one to discuss as true fans of the game. We are two guys who watch baseball. I don't care about prop bets on the color of cleats someone's wearing or prop bets on who has the first hit in the third inning of a game between the Athletics and the Pirates. And it bugs me how closely aligned these betting companies, MGM, DraftKings, FanDuel, Hard Rock, have gotten with the major sports organizations. And I've talked about this in the past, I think on the Chaotically Intolerant podcast when I was a guest, about how the ratings drop in the NBA, I believe, is directly related to all of this betting in your face. You're watching a game and the announcers mention the line on the game.
Oh, yeah.
That in itself is damaging the integrity of the sport because it's not a vessel for gambling. If you choose to gamble on it, do that, but keep it out of my fanhood. That's how I feel about it. Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase placed on administrative or non-injured leave through August 31st. This is an extension of Luis Ortiz's timeout, and this is Clase being placed on that list. Both are accused of intentionally throwing balls on specific pitches where there was a tracked increase on money being placed on that prop. And it seems a little too strange to be true because if they were not involved, why are there more people than you'd expect placing strange prop bets like that on a specific pitch? Well, there's a ton of gambling addicts out there. I've met people that will bet on every single play of a football game. They will bet on almost every line. That's one. Two, best case scenario for the MLB is that the betting integrity firms that flagged these bets were correct. They did their job and they kept betting out of the sport, and that it was a fairly innocent thing. Clase and Ortiz saying, hey, instead of giving our family money, let's just let them know we're going to throw a ball on this pitch. What's the worst that can happen? That's best case scenario, is that they're guilty. Worst case scenario for the MLB is that they were not guilty. You just cost the Guardians a chance potentially to make the playoffs. You cost the Guardians a chance if they decided to sell to move Clase for a massive haul. You damaged Luis Ortiz's reputation, who's kind of a journeyman pitcher. And those journeyman type guys, they may or may not be in the league next year. And having this allegation dangling over his head might make teams not want to sign him. This is a guy who's only making like $700,000 this year. But after agent fees and taxes and all that, he's a guy who maybe can't afford for his career to be ended early. And I really, part of me hopes that they are guilty of what they said, because at least it would keep that integrity of the sport alive. You could say, look, the MLB's doing it right. They have reputable firms tracking all this stuff. That's how they got Marcano, the minor league player. I hope the system's working, because this gambling stuff is cutting into the ability to just enjoy the sport as a fan. If you want to be effectively an addict and gamble all the time, that's on you. Don't bring it into my sport. And also, it's creating a generation of degenerate gambling addicts, because it's constantly thrown in your face all the time as a way to make quick money. Your
All the
first bet's
time.
free. If you lose your first bet, $500 in credits, blah, blah, blah. You can't lose. That's how they hook people. And it's dangerous. So my
Yes.
rant over. I'll give you your time. I'm sorry I went over a little bit there.
Nah, it's all good. I mean, a lot of the points is what I was going to make as well. And I think you hit it on the head when you talk about it just being blasted in our face. Like what you mentioned earlier, we are fans of the sport, of all sports, really, but baseball in general, we just want to watch the game. We're not worried about betting. We're not worried about what shoes, whatever, stuff like that. Now, I will be lying to you if I said I'd never betted before. And I would be lying to you if I said, hey, I betted on a prop better too. Now, I am not a gambler by any means. I don't gamble on every game. I don't gamble on every play. I gamble on something. Maybe if I have a little hunch or I'm feeling like,
The
like
Super
this
Bowl.
guy, something that's, just there. And I'll throw a little bit of money on just because. But when you mentioned it, it's blasted in our face. If you ever watch a game, especially a football game, it's on the ticker. Guys, it's on the ticker. It's not even talking about like what's going on around the league like it was before.
Yeah.
It's talking about, the
Feeding
over
betting
under.
lines.
Right. And boom, getting people to go in. Now, what happened with the MLB is very similar with the college football and the whole NIL thing. As soon as they opened up that door, or that they cracked open that door, these big time organizations, the FanDuel, all these sport betting books, Hard Rock, they blasted that door open. They weren't trying to peek to see what was on the other side. They blasted that door open and took full advantage. Now, on the flip side of that, why not, right? Like if you open up the door from it, make your money, right? But this is where I feel like this is the Achilles heel, not for the MLB, because it's very similar to the NIL for college football, and they need to fix it. They need to fix it fast. They open up a whole can of worms when they let betting come into the game, and the integrity of the game has fallen, and it's unacceptable.
Limit the amount of commercials that can be shown. You cannot. I mean, the announcers should not be allowed to talk betting lines.
Right.
Period. Point blank. You're there to talk the game. You should not be able to broadcast any specific lines or bets during the game. But then you've got ESPN, who has a whole hour dedicated to betting advice. You have NFL Network, where they have, here's our best bets of the game before the game start. Get your money in. And it's just too much. I will say,
and mind you, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you.
You're good.
Mind you, they're not just telling you to do one bet. Hey, for baseball, let's pick the Guardians to win this game. No, they're advertising, hey, make this 3-leg parlay, because this is not going to hit. Put your money in now, because this is what it looks like it's going to be hitting. And so they're not just making you try to get one bet. They get you in the door. They're advertising it, number one. But number two, they say, hey, get at least 3 in, because these are going to hit.
Yeah, because that's what they're being fed by their sponsors. When you have an official betting sponsor of a sport, you are beholden to those massive sponsors. Point blank. Just like when you watch the playoffs, the football playoffs, after the game, they're spraying Bud Light all over each other. Who's the official beer sponsor of that game? Bud Light. If you allow these betting firms to throw money into the game for advertising, you are now beholden to what they want you to do. If they want you to push parlays on your pregame show, you're pushing parlays. So before we get way out of hand here, let's go ahead and wrap it up. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Make sure to leave some comments. Talk about any topics you want us to discuss, or give us your picks for the trade deadline. I'll be watching that after this is posted. Josh, anything to throw in there?
No, man, big day tomorrow. Looking forward to tomorrow. Some big names going to be shuffled around. Some teams are going to be shuffled around. So it's going to be a good day for baseball. Excited to be back. Happy to be back on the show. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. With that, let's move on. We'll see you next week.